we have discovered some shocking new data. The national debt went up. These guys sold us up the river. Enough is enough. Hi folks, I had to make this video today. We weren't even gonna release a video on Monday, but we have to because this morning we have discovered some shocking new data. I woke up, I came in here and I opened up the debt clock, and to my amazement, the national debt went up $300 billion since Friday. Now I knew we were rapidly approaching the $35 trillion mark. And when I looked at it last on Friday, it was 34 trillion and 700 billion. And this morning, it's now 35 trillion and 3 billion. It's gone up roughly $300 billion. I mean, this is absolutely incredible. Now, last that we knew that this number was going up roughly $1 trillion per 85 days. But now to see the number to go up $300 billion in one day is just absolutely incredible. I don't know if this is gonna keep going, if it's gonna keep on climbing at that rate of speed or not, but really, really incredible number here. We're gonna pause for like 2 seconds. I got a guy outside. Sorry about that, folks. I had a guy knocking on the window who wanted to come in and trade some silver. And you know, like we don't open for like another 2 hours, and yet still we have customers like coming here hours before we open, hours after we close, just trying to do stuff, which is good. I'm very grateful that we have this many customers, and in fact, wonderful customers. Our customers are wonderful, incredible people, very smart people, and we're very happy to have them. And that if the cosmos wants to send us even more wonderful customers, we're happy to receive them, so that's good. Now, back to what we were talking about, because we were talking about the national debt, and that on Friday, this thing was 34 trillion, 700 billion. Today, it's 35 trillion and 3 billion, which is the number. It sounds weird, but that's so incredible. They added $300 billion to the debt over the weekend. Oh yeah, you can trust these guys with your future and your family's good security. Not. So this thing, okay, so we're seeing this thing is unraveling. So first, I just told you about this incredible data. What I'm wondering is, does this mean they're gonna keep going faster through the week? Does this mean that are we in the thick of it? Is this the final countdown for the hyperinflation? And your guess is as good as mine. What I do know is that it is coming. It is coming. There is no avoiding the consequences that our, quote, leadership has made. And in a little bit, we're gonna cover some more of these numbers, but I wanna just also share with you this idea that's really been kind of on me, and that is that there's a lot of news in the media. Okay, there's a lot of news in the media about different political things, and that a lot of people are being sucked in to this like left versus right thing. And I want to just say, though it may not be popular and you might be mad at me for it, but that it is the global power elite want you to believe that it's the left versus the right, and that they're fighting each other. It's not true. It's not the left versus the right. It's the left and the right versus the people. Don't forget that the Congress passed the Patriot Act in one day. They received it on October 14th, 2001, It has 1,000 sections covering all kinds of things, from where you can buy products to where you can drive an ATV to how you can spend money to what type of reports you have to do on the money. Lots of things about money and all kinds of things. Virtually every single amendment in the Constitution is violated to a little or a large degree as a result of the Patriot Act. And remember that the Congress, both the left and the right of the Congress, passed it. They received it on October 14th. They passed it on October 15th. If you think that it's even possible to read and understand 1,000 sections of legalese language and truly interpret it and know that it's constitutional, if you think that can be done in one day, well, I mean, I feel bad for you. I feel bad for you if you really think that that's possible. On the other hand, if you're like me and you know that's not possible, well then you know these guys sold us up the river. And guess what? They're doing it more. They're borrowing more money against our future. They're inflating the currency against our future. They're raising the taxes, and then they're wasting the tax money on things that get them kickbacks. Enough is enough. I mean, the American people really, years ago, should have said that all these guys are fired. It's unbelievable that this has gone this long. However, they've kept people pacified because they kept you thinking that, oh, if we just vote harder next time and we vote the right guy into office, he's gonna fix things. I don't think so. For one thing, the global power elite, they decide who is going to win the election. If you think the election is fair and not rigged, okay, if that's what you think, but I would tend to say that the election is rigged, and the guy who's gonna win is gonna be the guy that they want. The guy that was gonna do the things they want, and that's gonna continue to perpetuate the mainstream narrative that keeps you believing it's the left versus the right. It's not. And these guys are very bad. And so that's why we're in the silver business. That's why we're here helping customers accumulate physical silver, because sooner or later, there's gonna be a financial disaster, and your stocks and your bonds and your bank deposits and even your cash will become largely worthless. Almost the entire system is papered over. The commodities markets, papered over. It appears that there is a tremendous amount of silver in the market. However, 99.75% of it is actually paper promises for silver and not actual silver. And that is a trend that extends past the silver market, because it's not just in the silver, it's in the copper, that's another big one. It's in the gold, but the gold is not as papered over as silver. Silver is the most papered over of the precious metals by a long shot, and that's why I'm into silver, because I think it's gonna go up the most. But also, I'm into silver because silver is the most spendable. Gold is harder to use for basic essential supplies. Gold would be to like buy a house or land, but silver is how you're gonna buy a basket of vegetables, or you're gonna buy a couple of fish from a guy, or some eggs from your neighbor down the street. To me, you're gonna do that with silver, with little pieces of silver. And if the silver price goes to where it should go, an ounce of silver is gonna be a whole lot of money. And you're gonna find out that it's way too big to buy things. And when you go to the bazaar, the farmer's market, and there's like a row of different vendors, you got like the bread guy, the meat guy, the cheese guy, it's gonna be really hard to go there and be like, okay, you guys all split this 10-ounce bar. And so chances are the littlest piece of silver, whether it's like a dime or a 1/10 ounce silver, which says silver on it, I like that better, but that little piece of silver, you can go to the bread guy and he'll be happy to give you several loaves of bread. But if you have a 1 ounce silver or a 10 ounce silver, you're gonna have to buy like 100 loaves of bread. And your wife's gonna be like, what are we gonna do with 100 loaves of stale bread? 99 stale loaves. So, as I've said so many times, having little pieces of silver as part of your stack, very important. Now, I wanna continue on with these crazy numbers. And so, let's just do it. I don't know if you're ready. I don't know if you're ready to see it. I am. I'm just thinking as soon as we walk over there and we look at the spreadsheet that it's gonna be even higher than 10 minutes ago. Oh man. Oh, I think you're ready. Let's do it. Oh man. Woo! Oh. Oh yeah. Oh, you like silver? Oh. You know, if you're like me, oh man, sorry, I have to do this tension breaker. I just gotta do, I'm feeling better already. I was just getting a little stressed out, kind of laughing like a crazy person, looking at these numbers. And so I just figured I'd just kind of jingle this 20 ounces of silver in my hand. Okay. Oh yeah, okay. I'm calm. All right, so let's take a look at this. Friday, this number was 34,700. Today it is 35,003. Do you realize that they spent $300 billion over the weekend? Now, are they gonna keep going this fast? Chances are, yes. And they're probably gonna go even faster. I mean, these guys don't care about anything. There was this ancient Iroquois quote that I remember from a long time ago, which I'm probably gonna butcher it, but it said something to the effect of, good planning is done when you think 10 generations ahead. Well, these guys aren't even thinking 10 years ahead. Never mind 10 generations. The Congress, these guys don't care. And when they get up on stage and they start, grilling, whether it's the chairman of the Fed or the chairman of the SEC or the doctor, F guy, whose name I shouldn't say out loud just so so we don't get like shadow banned or something, but they get on there and they grill him and they, interrogate and they ask these questions that are really stupid questions anyway that have no beef to them. But then when it's all said and done, nothing happens. Nobody gets in trouble. It's a big fake show. But you know what's real? These numbers are real. And you know what else? Look at this. I've been saying that there's less than 2 weeks. Now it might be 1 week. And probably about 1 week, the national interest, the interest on the debt, which is now $905 billion, the national defense budget, 911, this number is climbing faster and faster. In less than 1 week, folks, in less than 1 week, expect to be paying more in interest than on national defense. Think about that. If you bought with your credit card, you went out and you bought a toaster oven for $500, but the interest on the toaster oven was getting higher and higher, and let's say the interest on the toaster was $600. The toaster was $500, the interest is $600, your bill is up to $1,100 and it's counting up higher, and that in a week, the bill for the toaster, you're gonna owe $1,200 for it, and that you can't even pay it faster than the interest is gaining, and that in 6 months, the toaster is gonna be $2,000, and in 12 months, the toaster is gonna be $4,000. Well, that's a really bad situation. Well, we're there, folks. This thing is spiraling faster and faster. And so we wanted to make this video today because when I opened up the computer and I saw this, I said, oh, we've got to do it. Now I know that there's a Yankee video coming out today too. And we also don't typically put out videos on a Monday. We try to do the videos on Tuesday and Thursday, but I had to show you this. And we're gonna have to make another video really soon as the interest on the debt exceeds the defense budget. Talk about absolute irresponsibility. There's no one that's more irresponsible with money than our government and the Congress and the various politicians. There's no one more irresponsible. You couldn't think of anything more irresponsible. You couldn't get a loan like this. You couldn't do it. If you went to your bank and you said, okay, here's my tax revenue, and then I want to take out a loan that's more than what I make, and and also you owe more money than is even possible to pay back.
This does not work in a financially responsible configuration. Not financially responsible. These guys know that it's over. And at this point, they're greasing their pockets. They are like guys that know the company is going down in a week. So they're taking home the stapler and all the paper clips and everything they can get, because they're like, oh man, this thing, they know it's all going down. So they're like, oh man, what can I take? Well, shoot, we'll take the plastic wrap out of the kitchenette. They're gonna take all the things out of the fridge, take home the paper clips, taking home all the stuff. So, it's end game, folks. This is what I wanted to talk about. We'll keep it, I'm gonna leave it here for now, except to just say that obviously, if you haven't figured out my message, what's the point? What's the point of this whole thing? The point is, you better get some more. I don't mean to say you better, I'm not threatening you. I'm only just saying I highly recommend that you get more physical silver. You got to stack harder than ever before. When the real silver price comes out, we are going to be way, way ahead on whatever ounces that you have. And if you have ounces that are tradable, that are divisible, that'll be easier to get things like goods and services out of them, you'll do very well. However, this is a once in 100-year event. In a way, once in 100 years, but in some ways, this is a once in 2,000-year event, because this is a global financial disaster which is unfolding. And so this is like where Americans typically in the Great Depression, a lot of Americans were growing their own food. Today, almost nobody is growing their own food in America, and most of the food comes from overseas. So when this thing goes down, and expect it, because it is inevitable. When this thing goes down, it is going to be a huge problem to be able to get supplies. And if you are heavily invested in paper assets, it's all a giant bubble. Most of this stuff doesn't even exist. They're just derivatives of derivatives of derivatives. So I hope you're stacking silver. I hope this video helps. And we're gonna have to stay tuned, because it looks like in about a week or so, I'll be making a video when the interest exceeds the national debt. Note that it's going faster and faster. And so that as soon as this thing passes in a week, it'll not only will it pass in roughly a week, but in a couple months, it'll be 50% or 100% more. I could say that if this keeps going 12 to 24 months, if it could even last that long, the interest on the debt will probably be double the defense budget, and that it also will be so much so that the only thing that there'll be money for is the interest on the debt, meaning that they're almost at that point now where they can't afford to pay for anything but the interest. And when it gets to where all they can afford to pay is just the interest, and there's no more money but just interest, well, that's when something crazy is going to have to happen, and the banks are either going to say, well, we need to refinance this thing, we need some collateral, and that we need to raise the interest rate and extend the terms of the loan, or we need to take the stuff back. They're going to do something here, and it's not going to be good for the American people unless you have yourself positioned in hard assets that you hold, that you protect, that are harder to take away. So I'll leave it there, folks. Thank you so much for watching. Obviously, I'm Silver Dave at Local Silver Mint, and reminding you to stack it up.